There is something primal about fear in the forest. As darkness falls and the trees close in around you, every sound becomes a potential threat. Every shadow has a secret. And sometimes the things we encounter in the deep, isolated forests defy all rational explanation. Tonight, you will hear 3 true stories about people who ventured deep into the forest and encountered something that changed them forever. These are not campfire stories or urban legends. These are real experiences shared by real people on Reddit who swear every word is true. From mysterious voices calling in the dark, to unknown entities circling tents in the dead of night, these stories will make you think twice before your next camping trip. Turn off the lights, grab your headphones, and get ready, because once you hear what happened to these people in the deep forest, you'll never look at the forest the same way again. Our first story is about a woman who loved camping with her family. The forest has always been her sanctuary, a place of peace and natural beauty. But a terrible experience changed everything. She, her husband, and their young daughter set out to visit the beautiful remote forest where they had previously camped. Arriving later than planned, they set up their tents in the dark, guided only by the car's headlights. The forest was amazing in the daylight, but at night it felt different. As they worked to secure the tent, a sense of uneasiness came over them. She stared into the darkness between the trees, felt that she was being watched, that she was being exposed. After finishing the camp, he put his daughter on the bed and sat by the fire. A few hours passed peacefully, then they decided to sleep. It was 3:28 in the morning when she woke up, not sure why, but overcome with a sense of dread. She continued to look toward the top of the tent, her heart beating faster. Then she heard this. Something came from the forest behind them. At first she tried to be rational. They had heard the elk howling all night. Maybe it was wildebeest, but this was different. It stopped right behind their tent and stayed there, completely silent, as if waiting. Terrified, she could neither move nor wake her husband. She lay in fear until morning. When the sun came up, there was nothing to see outside. No traces, nothing expensive. But she was sure there was something out there watching. Her husband dismissed it, saying it was a dream. He tried to let it go. But the next night, it happened again. At 3:29, she woke up with a start, almost the same time as before. Then she heard something coming. This time, it circled the tent, slid toward it, stopped, and then pulled something on the ground, perhaps a stick or branch. Frightened, she woke her husband. He grabbed the gun and spread the light everywhere. Nothing. No sign of anyone or anything. The whole night was quiet, but she was shaken. In the morning, she asked her parents, who had accompanied her on this trip, if they had heard anything too. The father said no, but the mother admitted she thought she might have heard footsteps and assumed the pair were walking around. Now the woman was convinced that it was not a dream. On the third night, her husband agreed to stay awake with her. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, they heard a loud noise, then a herd passed near their camp. Her husband whispered, "Maybe a mountain lion has spooked them." And then, behind their tent, footsteps are heard again. "It's here," she breathed. Her husband jumped up and ran out with his gun, Still nothing. Frustrated by the closure, he convinced his family to try camping there again. This time they would take turns sleeping near the fire just to be safe. After midnight, when she finally succeeded in floating again, she was awakened more by a feeling than by any sound. The darkness pressed in upon him. The fire cast a long shadow, back and forth at a certain speed beyond the brightness. Just then, a flash of light among the trees. She never returned to that forest. To this day, she doesn't know which animal or anyone else visited them, but she knows that every night at 3 in the morning, something happened there. Our second story takes us deeper into the unknown. A young woman joins her best friend and her friend's father for a fun weekend in the remote forest. What started as an adventure soon turned into a nightmare. They arrived, camped, and enjoyed the golden afternoon. As night fell, the woods became mysterious but manageable. After dinner and sharing stories around the fire, everyone left tired but happy. The woman woke up startled at 2 o'clock in the morning. She heard footsteps outside the tent, measured, rhythmic, slow. At first she thought of a bear or a deer, but the sound of footsteps seemed to be 2 feet away, purposeful. The thing outside began to circle the tent, once, twice, 3 times. Then it stopped. She heard deep, heavy breathing, not the kind of panting sound an animal makes, but slow, human-like, close. Every instinct screamed to her to stay still. What if it felt like she was awake? Her friend fell asleep completely unaware. The circling and breathing continued for hours. Sometimes the tent cloth pushed inward, as if something had rubbed against it or bent it. Fear paralyzed her until exhaustion overcame fear. She fell into a deep sleep. At sunrise, she told her friend and her friend's father. He surveyed the area around the tent. There was no track or trace of any animal or human. Nevertheless, they set up camp earlier than planned. Daylight brought the forest back to its peaceful state, but she knew that what she heard, the sailing, the breathing, the feeling of being studied through the canvas, none of it was a dream. Nobody figured out what it was. Was it a person, a cryptid, or something supernatural that left no trace? Listen, when you sleep in a dense forest, you are a visitor, and sometimes there is something that will remind you of that. Our latest story is about a seasoned hiker who thought nothing in the wilderness could surprise him until one cold night in the vast Loyalsock wilderness of Pennsylvania. On a 4-day hike with a friend, he found an incredible campsite hidden on a peninsula between a creek and a river, 100 yards off the trail and invisible in the thick bushes. They thought it was perfect, safe, secluded, private. After a long day and a hearty meal, they went straight to sleep. He woke up 2 o'clock in the morning. There were faint sounds from the path that went through the trees. He frowned. No one should walk here for so long or stand and talk on the road. He opened the tent to check. His friend was also awake. They looked at each other and remained silent as the voices continued. Then the voices stopped. Steps began to move toward their camp, slow and deliberate. Then he saw them. 4 figures walking confidently towards him through the pitch-black forest without any flashlights. His heart beating fast, he signaled his friend to stay still, hoping the visitors would pass by. They didn't. The figures moved forward, stopped just outside the tent, and stood there. He gathered courage and went out. "What do you want?" he demanded. A moment's pause, then one replied, "Do you have some extra food?" Frightened, he threw the lunchbox to them. The group did not thank him. They continued to watch in silence. His friend, sensing danger, struck up a conversation and pretended they were carrying guns to protect themselves from bears, not mentioning that they only had pepper spray and a knife. It seemed like the strangers bought it. "We have to move on," muttered one, and they left as quietly as they had come. Without waiting, the 2 men dismounted camp and continued on foot all night, frightened at every sound. They didn't stop until sunrise. The traveler still walks in the forest, but always with a weapon, and always remembers, in the deep forest, nature is not the most dangerous thing. There are other people. 3 stories, 3 encounters in the forest that defy simple explanation. From things that mimic voices, to the sound of footsteps wandering around your tent, to dangerous strangers with unknown motives. These stories remind us that the woods are never empty after dark. What makes these stories so disturbing is not only the horror of the moment, but also the void for explanation that follows. Was it a person, an animal, something supernatural? The truth remains in the shadows, out of reach. The next time you feel the urge to go camping in the woods, remember these stories. Trust your intuition, keep your wits about you, and never ignore the sounds outside the tent you slept in well last night. And if you go deep into the woods, maybe keep the lights on.